Hi guys, how are we doing? So I haven't been in contact for a little while, and the reason for that is quite simple. I've been racking my brains on how we stay connected, and how to do it in true Premier One style. And what I mean by that is, um, I feel that Premier One has uh, a unique delivery, a unique way in which we deliver goalkeeper coaching. Um, and what that uniqueness is we, like many other goalkeeping schools, we give you the tools that you will need to stop the ball going in the back of the net. And that's not unique. But what is unique is how we then get you to use those tools in given situations. So we do a lot of chaos drills. We do a lot of decision making drills. So it's not a case of that shot's going to go to your left hand side in the bottom corner, therefore you're going to go into a low collapse or a low extension. We will generate a environment where the ball will get delivered in, and although we might have worked on low saving techniques, the ball might end up going above your head. The ball might end up being in a 1v1 situation. So it's not a case of repeat, 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 repeat. We build that technique in, and then from that technique, we try to build the decision in of when you're going to need it. So the decision is happening at the correct time and in the correct way, so that when you go into a game, because you don't know what's going to happen, therefore your decisions are sharper because you've trained in that manner. Really, really simple. You train the way you wish to play. So very much on the decision-making basis. Because of that, it's very, very hard to generate decision-making when it's you and a wall in your garden, or you and your dad, or you and your brother, or you and your mum in your garden, or a rebounder. And the reason for that is everything becomes, due to space confinements with some people, due to the lack of experience or skill set that the server may have, and that's the situation we're currently in. Not everybody's a footballer. Not everybody has the skill sets and the understanding of how to change their foot at the final moment to generate a different outcome of the ball. And I'm exactly the same. I'm in a situation where in my house, I'm the only footballer. So in terms of trying to generate a chaos drill, I need a server that is going to generate number of possible outcomes where I need to react to. And I don't have that. My 3 children don't have the skill set to do that. My wife doesn't like football at all and has never played it. So therefore she doesn't have that skill set. I mean, I know people that have got ball launchers, but again, with a ball launcher, although it's a fantastic piece of kit to build a technique, it's a very expensive piece of kit, but it's a very fantastic piece of kit to build technique of that ball's going to go there, and therefore you're going to work on that technique and that save. That's great because the ball will constantly deliver that same ball. What it won't do is send the ball in the top right hand corner and then bounce the ball between your knees on the second ball and then have a ball swerving away from you on the third ball. It doesn't do that. That unpredictable nature only comes from being out on the field. And because we're not out on the field at the moment, it's very, very hard for us to deliver anything that is in keeping with the Premier One philosophy, which is why you haven't heard from me for a little while. So this is why I'm sending the message. I don't want you to think that I forgot about you. I'm missing you guys terribly. I am still really struggling with football. I feel like we're all in that kind of, the novelty of the lockdown for many of us is long past. It was, we don't have to go to school, we don't have to go to work, or, we can binge watch Netflix, we can play on our PlayStations, our Xboxes, and blah, blah, blah. And it gets very, very boring very, very quickly. And because of that being very boring very quickly, we find ourselves in a situation where we get into a bit of a slum. And perhaps some of you are still going out and you're still working in the garden, which is fantastic. And probably the main thing is staying fit, staying healthy, being able to cope with the demands of the environment, which is what the first and the third video on our YouTube channel is all about. Really, it's about staying sharp, staying physically balanced, staying physically able, being powerful, being quick, being explosive. So when we do go back to football, we're not finding ourselves a little bit sluggish. In terms of the decision-making thing, as I've already explained, it's very, very difficult to replicate unless you are on the pitch and you have got goalkeeper and bodies and servers to generate that level of chaos that we deal with as a goalkeeper. The other thing that I was thinking about doing, I didn't do it because, again, I felt like I was going to throw out a video for the sake of throwing out, but I will mention it, is yesterday we've had really, really good weather, which is fantastic. And yesterday, for the first time in a month, I feel, we had rain all day long. And that would have been a great opportunity to get out in the garden and do some goalkeeping, because being inside or being out in lovely weather, that doesn't happen every Saturday and Sunday. We know that as goalkeepers, and you trying to stay focused while the heavens are opened and the wind is howling across, and you are, waiting for the game to come to you, or you're constantly having to change position, but 75 to 80% of the time we're just walking around our box or around our defensive third, hopefully the latter, as we are allowed outside of our box. You are not then dealing with environmental issues in terms of the cold, the wet, the wind, and those things are really, really important. Those things massively change our reaction. So in terms of working on technique, when it does get a little bit windy and a little bit rainy outside, maybe that's a great time just to get somebody bouncing a ball in front of you, skipping off the surface and bits and pieces. So there's a little bit of advice in terms of how we can change things up slightly. But again, that's weather dependent. We've obviously been told that there's 3 more weeks of lockdown. So, we're all going to be in a situation where, this becomes incredibly frustrating. One of our goalkeepers asked me a question, and it was a really, really important question. And they said, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and lots of it was very, very physical stuff. And they said, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And the reason why he didn't feel like he was doing enough is he's got a lot more time on his hands, doesn't have to go to school every day, hasn't got football training, hasn't got football games in the weekend and bits and pieces. So you have a lot more time in your hands, so it feels like you're not doing enough. And actually what you're probably doing is more than you've ever done, because you've got more time in your hands. That being said, we're missing out on working working our brain. Now, my advice to that is many of your family will be in a very, very similar situation in terms of they're bored of the lockdown, the novelty's passed, they're getting very, very frustrated with the situation. So play some cards. Find a card game that you all know, or that your mum and dad can teach you. And whether that we put a competitive element on it. So I know that when, for example, the game of poker, my granddad, he taught me how to play poker, but he taught me how to play with matchsticks. Now, we probably live in a world where there's not many matchsticks around, but if you can find a new number of counters, for example, or 1Ps, if you've got like in our house, we've got a change box. So all the change, when you come from the shops, you put it in the change box, and at the end of the month or the end of the year or whatever, you add it all up and you take it to the bank or you give it to charity or whatever. So play card games, but add a competitive element. Play Pictionary. Pictionary is really, really easy. You don't have to have the game. You can just write down a number of things, stick them in a pot or a hat, pull it out. Kids versus adults, boys versus girls, whatever it might be. So you're looking at non-verbal communication in terms of that, and trying to get your thoughts down quickly under time pressure, and then communicate with somebody and understand that they don't understand, and trying to get that connection going. All those things we can do in order to get our brain working. So anything that has a competitive edge, anything that has to maintain your focus, anything that has to get you communicating effectively, charades, whatever you want to call it, is another good one, where you're having to connect interpersonally with somebody else and get them to understand where you're coming from. Are really, really good ways of making our brain think, problem solving, communicating effectively, either verbally or non-verbally, and then having that focus and competitive edge, which we will all be lacking right now. I'll be honest with you guys, I could quite easily go in the garden, I can produce a video a day, I can stick it on our YouTube channel and you could watch it, but I think there is so much of that going on. It's very, very hard to... it's great that everybody's doing their bit. It's fantastic. So I've seen Adrian in his garden. I've seen Alison in his garden. I've seen Darren Randolph doing home workouts. I've seen one of my old goalkeepers from AFC Bournemouth, Will Dennis. He was working out in the back garden, making the best of a situation. Loads of people doing really, really, really good stuff, but it's all the same. It's all very predictable, very obvious bits and pieces. So if you want to look at what you can do, there's so much of it out there. I don't feel like I need to add to that because it's very samey. Just because it's my voice doesn't mean that it's any better or any worse. But at the same time, it's not in keeping with what I feel Premier One is about, which is establishing the mental side of a goalkeeper just as strongly as the physical, technical and tactical, if not more so, because it's your brain that does all the work in terms of getting yourself in the right position, getting yourself ready, choosing your technique, and then obviously being physically able to execute that demand that you've put on your body. So that's why I'm not putting loads more out there. However, having said that, I'm still here for you guys. So if there is something you want to see, just let me know, and I've got time on my hands, I'll happily get out in the garden come rain or shine, and show you what you want to know. I'll refresh your memories on bits and pieces. But I think it's really, really important that we stay true to what we are and who we are and what we do, and not just add to the waves of the same thing that's being put out there. There are some great stuff being put on the internet, on Twitter, on Instagram TV, by some of the leading goalkeeper coaches in the country. Tim Dittmer, he is the head of England goalkeeping. He put something on Twitter the other day, which was a webinar about goalkeeping practices, which is another thing that you guys can look into. So there's loads of stuff out there you can keep yourself interested in. So my suggestion is, if you're looking for goalkeeping content, make sure you're looking at the guys that are at the top of the game, because they'll be delivering really specific, really high level quality. We can all go outside and throw a ball at a rebounder if we've got one. I don't. Or a wall. And that's fine. That's fine for keeping the sharpness, keeping the coordination, keeping your eye in-ish. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't develop our decision-making process. It doesn't develop our adjustments on, has the ball just bounced? Has it just popped up off a bobble? Has he sliced across the top of the ball? Has he hooked the ball, or she, sorry? When the cross comes in, has the defender decided to take a touch? Sorry, has the, I say defender because in my head it was a defender just about to score a goal, not an own goal. More Virgil van Dijk. When the cross comes in, is it that the attacker has decided that he's going to take a touch before he finishes, or are they finishing first time and have they got their head over the ball, or have they got underneath the ball? Are they putting the ball back across you? Are they flicking the ball on? You can't replicate that in the back garden, not unless, you know, I don't know, you live with half the Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal first team, which most of us, if not all of us, certainly don't. I understand that people will start to drop off in terms of their activities. I understand that. I really do understand that. So here's my challenge. The number of footballers, not just in terms of where we are, in terms of grassroots and development level, academy, specifically us as goalkeepers, but in terms of your peers, you will be surprised at how many don't come back to football when this is all over. Specifically those in the teen years, there'll be a huge drop-off. Now, if you're staying focused and disciplined and continuous and keeping yourself sharp and keeping yourself fit, or if not getting fitter, then the only thing that we need to really knock the rust off is the decision making and the calm in the chaos that we deliver in terms of Premier 1 goalkeeper sessions. So with that in mind, you've got to stay disciplined, because I said this on a Q&A Facebook Live session. Imagine that it's kind of everything's going okay, and then there's going to be a massive canyon or a chasm of a drop-off where the rest of your peers just don't come back to football, and on the other side is how football then continues to lift off. That gap there, you've got to be in a place where you can just hop across or jump across that gap because you stayed sharp. And then because of that massive drop-off, there's going to be greater opportunity going forward, because there's going to be a hole in the system that this has created. You know, professional football has been around for over 100 years, but it's never been at the level it's been now, and therefore to stop football now, we won't understand the implications till it's all over. So keep focused, keep disciplined, keep working, keep sharp, and you will get your rewards on the other side of this. If there is anything that you guys want to know, if there's anything you need help with, please get in contact either via social media or email, and ask me. I'm happy to help. If you guys want to share with me what you're doing, please do. Again, happy to see what you guys are doing. Maybe it'll inspire me and give me an idea of how I can help further. But apart from all else, stay safe, stay well, in really, really difficult times, remember we're all in this together, and maintain a level of respect and kindness when you're probably feeling very, very anxious and frustrated. Guys, I miss you guys all terribly. I cannot wait to get back to goalkeeping coaching and training with you guys. And I hope you guys are really, really looking forward to the day when we can get back on the field. Like I say, stay safe, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye for now.